All right, number 4, disciples bear much fruit. John 15:8, this is to my Father's glory, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. What brings the Father glory according to this verse? Bearing much fruit. Well, what does it mean to bear fruit? Well, a good understanding of this word fruit, you might think of the fruit of the Spirit. So character, transformational, becoming more like Christ in your character, in your life. And then it's not limited to that. It would also be fruit through your life. So think about the fruit of godly character and maybe the fruit of people sort of coming into the family of God or being blessed by sort of the outworking of your walk with Christ. Now, if you think about a plant doesn't sort of strain itself to bear fruit, right? You can picture a tree going, pop, it doesn't really happen like that, right? It's the inevitable outcome of a plant being well-nourished. And so Jesus, he gives more insight into this idea of bearing fruit. In John 15:5, he says, I am the vine, you are the branches. If a man remains in me and I in him, he will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. And so if you put this in like a little bit of an order, to bring glory to God, bear much fruit. To bear much fruit, abide with Christ. To abide is to make him your home. Think about the word abode, to make him your home. It's the Greek word meno, and it means to cling to remain with, to dwell in. Part of me really wants to turn Christianity into a formula, right? If you do this, then this will happen. If you read this many Bible verses and pray this amount of time and serve with this percentage of your discretionary time, you will be a faithful disciple. That is not Christianity. That is Phariseeism. But I tend to want that because it's predictable. It's clear. This abiding thing, it's mysterious. There's depth to this that I'm still discovering. Over time, I've come to actually appreciate the mystery and the depth of this. This is a real relationship with the living God. You can't put God in a box. He doesn't like to be put in a box. So there's ebbs and flows to your walk with God. There'll be times where things are rich and times where things are hard. There's highs, there's lows. There's hard lessons, there's sweet moments. There's times where you just feel so close. And times you're like, where are you, God? Read the Psalms. It's a real relationship. This is how other relationships go as well. So what things will make any real relationship healthy and connected and close, abiding? Those are the things to engage in with Jesus. So think about regular, in-depth communication is going to build a relationship. Honesty and openness. How many times do I hold God at arm's length? I'm not really honest with him, even though he knows, he made me, he knows me. I sort of put up my own wall. Extended time together, right? That builds a relationship. A road trip with your buddies, that's going to build a relationship. We have to do these things to grow any healthy relationship. Commitment through hard times. In the case of abiding with Jesus, I would add relying on him, depending on him constantly. And so do we involve Jesus in our lives? Asking for direction, for counsel, for strength, special insight? Or do I tend to sort of be a functional atheist? I say I have this master and person who loves my soul and knows everything, and yet I don't actually involve him at all. Or maybe deist would be another way to say it. To abide is to be one with him, to involve him in everything. And as you abide, you start to change. You start to become like him. That's the internal fruit. And as you become like him, then you start doing the things he did, and that's the external fruit. It overflows out of what's going on the inside. Bulk of my sermon next week will be on this idea of bearing fruit by making disciples. So for now in this one, I just want to emphasize that there's this natural overflow out of abiding with Christ that one would bear much fruit. It's like when you're enjoying Jesus yourself, you'll naturally want to tell other people about him. Which reminds me, have you tried the new Chick-fil-A maple pepper bacon sandwich? Oh my gosh, y'all. I had this thing Friday. It is unreal. Who's had it? Oh gosh, you're all going to be there on Monday, okay? Chick-fil-A's glorious chicken filet, right? Topped with maple-flavored brioche bun, honey pepper bacon, whatever that means. It's good. It's sweet and salty. And then they throw spicy and sweet pickles on there. I mean, it's just like, oh, what is happening, you know? You take your first bite, just an eruption of flavor. Oh, it's just so good. You'll never go to Zaxby's again. It's delicious. You see what I'm doing, right? And it's easy. This was so good. I'm going to be there tomorrow. You know, and it's coming out of me. Y'all need to come see this. Y'all need to come try this. I still like the pimento one better, though. By the way, some of y'all have the pimento one. Bring that back. In a sense, when you're enjoying something, it bears fruit in your life, and you tell other people about it. It happens naturally. I think this is the idea of abiding with Christ and then bearing much fruit. People will know that we are authentic disciples of Jesus when we bear much fruit, internally and externally.